Okay, let's review. Let's look at factoring. Okay, factoring trinomial. So first of all, before you do anything, if you can common factor means to take out something. It makes the problem smaller. So if you can common factor first, we will. Common factoring trinomials. So they're all going to be trinomials because trinomials have 1, 2, 3 terms, right? 1, 2, 3 terms. These are trinomials, and how do we factor them? Well, the way I like to teach this is I like to start with the answer to show you how we can take the question and go back and make the answer, okay? So what I did is I FOILed this. So I went x times x squared, x times negative 3, 2 times x, and 2 times negative 3. I combine the middle terms to make a negative 1x, but I have this 5 out in front. So I'm going to make sure that I multiply through the 5. So I get a 5x squared minus 5x minus 30, okay? So I took this, multiplied through. Now, let's say this is the question, and we want it to look like the original. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, if we can common factor, well, I see a multiple of 5 by all 3 terms. It's going to make the problem smaller. So if I factor out of 5, I'd have an x squared minus 1x minus 6. Okay, and then the problem is smaller. So then, okay, I say, okay, well, what times what makes negative 6? That adds up to a negative 1, and I know that it would be an x plus 2 and an x minus 3. We know the x and x make the x squared. The 2 times negative 3 makes the negative 6. If I add these two terms, I get a negative 1, okay? So number 2 is the same way. What I want to do is, this will be the answer, but how do we get there? So first I multiplied x times x squared, x times negative 2, negative 2x. 4 times x is 4x, and then 4 times a negative 2 is a negative 8. And I combine the two middle terms to make a 2x. Now, I've got to remember the negative 1 is also to be multiplied through. So I brought down the negative 1, and I multiplied by negative 1 to give me a negative 1x minus 2x plus 8. Okay, so then this is what we're doing. Let's factor this. So we're going to make this question look like the original. How do we do that? How do we make this question look like this? Well, first of all, if you can common factor, always do that because it's going to make it easier. So what I notice is all 3 terms could take out a negative 1. Plus, if we have a positive x squared here, it just makes it easier. So took out a negative 1, took out a negative 1, took out a negative, made a negative. And then I'm going to factor this trinomial. I know x and x makes x squared. I need the multiples of negative 8. Which are going to be a positive 4 and a negative 2 because they add up to that. Okay, there we go. Number 3 is different. So I'm going to multiply first. So what I want to do is multiply 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 1, okay, is negative 2. So then I combine the two middle terms. So let's say that this is my question. 3x squared minus 1x minus 2. And I'm going to factor that. So I know the answer is that. Let's see how we got there, okay? So what did I do? Well, I know the only way I'm going to get a 3x squared is a 3x times an x. I know that will make a 3x squared. And the multiples of negative 2 are 2 and 1. I have to make the negative 1, so I do this thing called the double smiley, okay? I check the inside terms and the outside terms. I get a 2x, and a negative 3x makes a negative 1x, okay? Number 4, I'm going to multiply through again. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 2 is a negative 4x. 3x times x is 3x. And 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So then I combine my middle terms. Chris, I'm trying to record. Okay. Okay. Combine the middle two terms. Now, this is the question I want to factor. So I want this question to look like this. How do I do it? Well, the only way I'm going to get a 2x squared is with a 2x and an x. Okay. The multiple of 6, there's lots of them. The ones I want to use is a positive 3, negative 2, because they'll multiply to be negative 6. And if I check I call my double smiley, it gets my inside term, my outside terms will combine to a negative 1, okay? On the back side, we did more of these, okay? But we went straight to factoring, okay? So, again, 2 sets of parentheses. The only way I get a 2x squared is a 2x and an x. Multiples of 5 are 5 and 1, but I have to be careful I put them. If I put the 1 and the 5 here, then I can get a 10x and a 1x. They will make the 11. If you put the numbers in the wrong place, you won't get the middle term, okay? 6, I'm going to factor, parentheses, 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 parentheses. The only way I can get a 3x squared is with a 3x and an x. Multiples of 6 have to be 2 and 3. I put in a way that positive 2, negative 3, so my double smiley, negative 9x, positive 2x will make my negative 7x, okay? Number 7, same way, okay? 2x and x, negative 3 and 4, make the 12, and we'll see how we get the 5x, okay? And finally, we just looked at the rest of these, and you can play around with these. This is how we factor trinomials with what we call a leading, coefficient. These are hard. We're going to do more of these tomorrow. All right, that's all I got, and homework. Okay, I got it done, I think. I can load it up. Kids can watch it if they want to. This is the hard stuff, huh? Yeah, I know, it's still recording. We're talking. I won't stop recording. Stop.